Good day, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you. I hope you and your loved ones are all safe and well. The company continues to deliver a strong operating performance amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. We are thankful as we are aided by the support of the government to overcome challenges that we face and meet requirements expected by an essential service company like us. During these times, I would also like to hope and pray that all of you and your families are safe and healthy. Revenue growth has touched almost 15% on the corresponding quarter basis, and EBITDA margins excluding other income continue to be healthy at 39.88%. Financial performance has seen considerable improvement, and I will dive into the details shortly. Where acreage details of crops are concerned, cotton has increased by 4.9%. Maize acreages are up marginally by 0.59%. Rice has shown a strong growth in acreage over the previous year, whereas bajra, jowar, and sunflower have also increased over the previous year. It is also, we need to understand that it is these figures are as on date, are not for the corresponding year. I mean, these figures are as on date considering the previous year. It is important to highlight that maize prices are down and farmers are holding to grains in key markets. Where our crop price performance is concerned, cotton volumes increased by about 5% in Q1 financial year 21. Volume was gained in the north and west markets. Maize volume increased by 7% in Q1 21, and the revenue up 9%. Although there was a decrease in Telangana, volume increased in all other states. Increase in value are driven by contribution from the premium segment portfolio. Hybrid rice volumes increased by 44% and revenue increased by 53%. Hybrid paddy KPH 468 continued to bolster growth. Selection-wise, volumes have increased by 23% during the quarter and revenue increased by 28%. Growth in the premium segment is more than in the general segment. On the consolidated basis in Q1 financial 21, revenue stood at rupees 71.9.48 crores as against 627.58 crores, a growth of 14.64%. In Q1 financial 21, EBITDA excluding other income stood at 286.95 crores as against 236.08 crores in the corresponding quarter. EBITDA margins excluding other income at 39.88%. In Q1, PAT was at 295.29 crore compared to 229.58 crore. Our balance sheet remains strong. Total cash on books as on June 30, 2020 is 524 crore and as on March 31st was 337 crore. As most of you are aware that the first quarter is always a stronger quarter for us. Majority of the rainfall takes place during it. Our financial performance has been good and crop-wise performance is also encouraging. I would like to highlight that we have taken strong measures of safety for all our employees during the pandemic and very heartened with their relentless efforts during these difficult times. Operationally as well, the minimum teething issues that we had in our supply chain and labor has been rectified as the business is running smoothly. The government support continues to be acknowledged. A few key points on the outlook is that the area of cotton is down in key states like Maharashtra and Gujarat. While overall cotton may be down, we go into second quarter in states like Tamil Nadu. Prices for feed crops like cotton and maize are not good, and farmer sentiment for coming quarter may not change. But Rabi area may be impacted in case prices do not improve. New hybrids continue to be a focus, and we have introduced hybrids across crops, and the response is encouraging. Vegetables are also performing very well. Hybrids are being introduced in hot pepper, tomato, bitter gourd, okra. And Kaveri okra, Kaveri 54 is now the market leader. New crops have also been introduced like cabbage, beetroot, carrot, marigold, sweet pepper, pumpkin, masculine, etc. On that note, I conclude my opening remarks. We would be happy to give you our perspective on any questions that you may have. I would request the operator on this call to open question and answer session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask questions may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking questions. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. To ask a question, please press star and 1. The first question is from the line of Rohit Nagraj from Sunidhi Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity and congrats on a very good set of numbers. Sir, in terms of, we have done a very good performance all across the segments. So from a growth perspective, over the next maybe 3 to 5 years, what are the steps that we are taking in terms of getting into newer geographies or gaining market share from incumbents, or probably gaining traction in the areas where probably hybrid rice is still unpenetrated or vegetables is still have significant scope? So from a strategy perspective, what is the direction that we are working on from a 3 to 5 year perspective?
Hi. We were always saying our perspective in this regard, and we were always focusing saying that we need to have good product line to achieve the growth. And as a company from day one, we started focusing on that. And in the last 4 decades of our presence in the Indian market, we started as a strategy. We wanted to add many crops to the portfolio. And now we are leaders in most of the crops where we operate. And moreover that, as a company, we are spending a lot on R&D and getting up infrastructure where we can develop new products in all the segments and gain the market shares. If you see in the last 5 years, we have grown in central and northern India as well. So that itself shows our focus on the new markets and continuous effort on launching new hybrids in new markets. And like, for example, if you take vegetables, which we are investing for the last 10 years now, we're showing results. So that's how we are planning our growth, and recently we also started exports. So these all should contribute to the growth. And in terms of the growth for the coming years, we think that we will continue the previous track what we have, and definitely that should be going forward.
Thanks for the answer. So just a couple of bookkeeping questions. The other operating expenses have come down during this quarter, and the other income has gone up. So the reasons for the same?
Regarding the other income, it's the income generated by the investment activity. Basically, we have free cash on our books that we invest in mutual funds, mostly into debt funds. We get interest income out of that. That is booked under other income. Whereas coming back to the other expenses include most of the traveling expenses, sales promotion expenses, and the royalty portion. Compared to last year, the royalty is lower by 15 crores compared to previous year because we used to pay 19 rupees of royalty to Monsanto. That is zero this year. So that's the reason, that's a major reason why the other expenses are down compared to the previous year.
All right, sir. Thanks a lot and best of luck. If I have any questions, I'll come back to you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Chetan Thakkar from ASK Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. So just wanted to understand on the rice portfolio, both hybrid and selection. Just wanted to get a sense on which markets have we grown well and what are we witnessing in those markets?
We have grown across India, but if you talk about the hybrid rice market, it's basically into central and eastern India. Mm-hmm. So we have grown a lot in states like UP, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, parts of Bihar and Orissa. So these are the major areas which contribute to the hybrid rice and which are growing very fast. And whereas selection rice is across India, we have grown across India.
So, sir, industry level, what would be the growth in this quarter? Any sense on hybrid rice?
I think the hybrid rice has grown by around, it will grow by around 4 to 5% across industry.
So we would have
but if there are two hybrid rice and the normal rice, that is varietal and the other rice. Varietal rice has gone up significantly compared to previous year. It should be up by more than 8 to 10% compared to previous year. Because we have a very good monsoon and the season is also early. But whereas the hybrid rice is just up by 4 or 5%.
So we would have gained market share in hybrid rice, right? given our volume?
Yeah, we have significant market share in rice because if you see our growth, we have grown by more than 45%. And if you see the past 3 years, we are growing at more than 35-40% year on year. That itself shows our strength in hybrid rice, and I think we are in the top 3 or 4 in hybrid rice.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abhijit Akella from IIFL. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Mithun. Good afternoon and congratulations on a good set of results. Just with regard to the outlook now going forward for the rest of the year, number one, given the early monsoon that we have had this year, would we expect 2Q to be somewhat more subdued compared to what we had last year? Last year, I believe we had sold about 5 lakh packets of cotton in 2Q. So that was one. And second, any risk of sales returns in cotton that you might consider given the shift in cropping towards other crops in some of the key states? Thanks.
Regarding the quarter 2, I don't think there is much impact for us in this quarter 2. The corresponding quarters, compared to corresponding quarters, I don't see much of an impact in quarter 2. As last year also the monsoons were early and most of the season came in the first quarter itself. So I don't see much of an impact in the second quarter. And most of the numbers, like for example, cotton figures, like we had done around 5 lakh packets, like we said, in the last year, second quarter, it should be in line with 50,000 plus or minus this year. We should not have much difference. And coming back to the sales return, whatever we show it at sale, it's the liquidated quantity. It's a net of sale return. So we don't take any, the sale return will not have any impact on the numbers what we show.
Great. That's good to hear. And also just on Rabi, the presentation, you've shared a little bit of a cautious outlook for Rabi acreages of corn and, so if you could just talk about what you expect in terms of Rabi. Last year's Rabi was very strong. We have a high base effect now. So should we expect corn hybrid sales to be a little bit weak in the second half of this year? Thanks.
To be frank, it looks as of now, it looks like that because most of the grains are with the farmers and the grain prices are pretty low. It might be because of the impact of the exports. That we need to see. But otherwise, it's like in terms of the performance of the maize for the second half as an industry, it looks like a bit cautious. But when coming back to Kaveri, I don't think it will impact much because we are spread across different locations and we have different hybrids for that. So it should have a minimal impact on us in terms of Rabi for Kaveri. But as an industry, like you said, it might be, we need to look at it. If the situation improves in between them, because we have a couple of months more for the Rabi season, if the situation improves, if the export starts, then definitely it will be a good sentiment. As of now, it looks like a cautious sentiment, but we need to see. The other thing, what we need to observe is that we don't have any second alternative for maize in many areas. In some parts, wheat is picking up, and we are also there in wheat. So for us, in terms of the revenues, it might shift to some of the other parts. But overall, as a consolidated basis, as a company basis, compared to the second half, I don't see it as a much impact for us. Okay, great. Just one last question from me, and I'll get back in the queue. Just with regard to vegetables, the performance has been excellent so far. I think almost a tripling of revenues year over year. Now, I believe last year we had done about 15 crore vegetable revenues. Could you give us some sense of where you would expect that number to be this year? I'll just correct it. Last year, for the entire year, we have done close to 20 odd crores in vegetables for the entire year. Compared to the first quarter, we have done 6 odd crores and 5-6 crores, and we had almost than 15 crores this year. On the small base, we have grown by close to 200-300% vegetables. But going forward, vegetables is a very good segment and high profitable segment. We are pretty confident that we'll make a mark in vegetables in the next couple of years. If you recollect, you were always saying that vegetable business will be a good contributor coming down the line in 3-4 years. But this year itself, we see a good growth in that. Definitely, we see at least 40-50% growth in vegetables. By the initial start, it looks like it should be much more than that, but conservatively, it should be nothing less than 40-50%.
Okay. So 20 crores last year and about at least 30 crores this year is what you're saying.
Yes. 40% to 50% growth of last year entire year.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you so much. I'll get back in the queue.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nitin Awasthi from East India Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Firstly, congratulations on a great set of numbers. But I was going through your presentation. In the presentation, it has mentioned that HTBT3, the illegal seeds, have basically affected the whole legal seed basket by 15%. What would be the impact on our company as a whole? Would you see that there has been a lot of growth being taken out because of the whole illegal seed business?
Yes, if you see Kaveri as such, we have grown, even though the acreages are down by 5 to 8% across India in terms of the cotton acreages, we have grown in terms of volume by 5%. That itself shows that we have gained majority, we have gained market share in majority of the areas. But coming back to HTBT, slightly there was an increase in the illegal BT, but as a percentage, it will impact more because the acreages are down and HTBT remains same with a slight increase in that. That has affected most of the branded seed this year because it was taken because the transportation issues and other issues and the non-availability of the smaller unorganized segment and all those things moved to the HTBT. But yes, there's an impact, but to quantify the impact, it will be a bit difficult thing, but definitely there's an impact on us.
Okay. Okay, sir. So now just getting into this market and understanding this whole illegal seed business is that every year the impact has been growing. And of course, with the impact growing every year, the impact on our growth numbers will be there, although hard to quantify, but it will be eating away from the growth that Kaveri is doing as a whole, being that the illegal seed business is booming right now. So just could you shed some light on it as to what could be the corrective course of action that could be taken, would it be that sooner or later these seeds will get legalized? If the seeds do get legalized, what are they currently retailing at? What could the price drop to? Is the company ready with this variety of seeds, or how much time will it take the company to scale up to this?
If you go back to the illegal PT seed, illegal PT is there for the last 15 years since the introduction of the PT1. And if you see in the past years, it moved from 40 to 60 lakh packets. Most of the time. Even this year is slightly more than 60 lakhs, but if you take it's your past 5-7 years, it was in the range of 40 to 60 lakhs. And moreover, we need to appreciate the government, both central and state governments. Individual state governments are acting very tough on illegal PT, and there was a continuous searches and operations to control these contaminated seeds. So I don't think it will further go from this way because the government is taking strict actions on that, and it got control in the last year. But being this pandemic year, COVID conditions, they were also not given free hand to operate. So that might be one of the issues, and the transportation was also a difficult task. So the illegal seed moved in between the villages to villages. That's one part we need to see. Going forward, getting legalized is a government subject. I don't think the illegal BT can be legalized. Government need to take a policy. There's a different set of committee which genetically modified crops. That need to be cleared from them, then only it can be legalized. So I don't see that as a major threat for the branded companies. In fact, if you see in the other way, it should come down going forward. That's my perspective.
Okay. Okay, sir. And during the year, we had a major breakthrough with the GMS technology within cotton. So the benefits of that have started to flow in this year, or will we see the benefits of it next year?
A part of that has flowed in this year, but majority of that will flow in the next year.
Could you quantify, sir?
We had a carry forward stock of last year, so that we have cleared it this year. So some part has come this year, but majority of that will come in the next year.
Okay, so could you just quantify how much would be the saving per packet?
15% also.
Sorry, sir, come again?
15% also.
15% also, okay.
Overall, the entire seed, what we sold, it should be 15% of that will be GLR.
Okay, and next year you are seeing this number to increase to almost 100%?
More than 75%.
More than 75%. And the savings per packet because of GMS at the current price?
It should be roughly around 2 to 3%.
2 to 3% of the overall price.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir, got it. So that clears a lot of questions on the cotton. I'll get back in the queue, sir. Thank you for answering all those questions.
Thank you. The next question is from Madhav Marda from Fidelity Investments. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir, good afternoon. Thanks so much for your time. My question was, on your outlook, I joined the call a little late, so I don't know if you've already shared your outlook. But from your presentation, if I look at your outlook for cotton seeds and maize, you sounded a bit negative due to the lower demand and the higher supply which might come in. Could you share your perspective on the cotton side once a bit more in detail about how the pricing might pan out and the acreages for the coming few months?
Sure, I've already shared it, but anyhow, I'll again share my thoughts about it. In terms of the cotton, majority of the acreage is already done. We don't see much of an impact coming in the next quarters. And even for the maize, immediate next quarter may not have much impact because already the maize acreages are done. But going forward, that is Rabi, which comes in the third and fourth quarter, the maize crop might be impacted because of the commodity prices, and most of the farmers are holding this rate. So that might be an impact on the overall industry. But in respect to Kaveri, I don't see much of an impact because most of the markets, they are just gaining market shares and we are in a very initial stages. So that should not have much of an impact for us. And definitely with this view, I don't think second half should vary much when compared to last year. But in terms of the industry, we need to wait and watch. Other 2 or 3 months are left out for the Rabi crop. We need to say if the exports are allowed, then definitely we see good sentiment for it again.
Got it. But next year, basically, if prices are a bit weaker and we have oversupply, would it be fair to say that next year acreages for these crops could be a bit lower? Why? That there could be some impact, right?
It's too early to talk about the next year because of the pandemic situations, most of the transportation, most of the exports and everything is stalled now. I think once it smoothens, then the entire operation should be good. And the other fact we need to understand is that in India, there are very few crops of choice. So it definitely should revolve around these crops. And as Kaveri, we cater to many of the crops. So I don't think there is much impact on our view on the overall market. But it's too early to talk about anything about the next season. We can get to know only in the month of October, November, once the farmer realizes the grains.
Understood.
Once they get the yield. And the Kaveri, the strategy of Kaveri is that to operate in many crops that is actually yielding that. For example, when you talk about the Rabi crops, instead of maize, if the maize doesn't cover in Rabi, it may move to wheat. We are already there in wheat also. So we'll get some market share in wheat as well. So in that way, we are slightly insulated to the market conditions. And that's why we say that our strategy of operating in many crops and moving into different crops and adding few new crops as a continuous journey helped us to regain our leadership in the entire industry.
Got it. Great, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sumant Kumar from Motilal Oswal. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Mithun. So you in Q4 FY20 you have guided cotton volume growth in the range of 10 to 15%, and assuming 10% growth also over previous year, the overall the packet sales coming around 7.5, and upper band it is going to be a 8 million packet. So can we achieve 7.5 at least for FY21?
I don't think so, because most of the cotton seeds are already sold. The volume growth compared to previous year, it should be in between 4 to 5%. If you recollect our call, we were saying that the market may go up by 5% this year, but in fact, we are down by 6 to 8%. So even in that tough condition, we are able to gain volumes and market shares. So instead of 10%, we'll be doing around 5%. But the other way to look at it is that in non-cotton, we said that it should be 15 to 20%, but it's more than that in that for the crops. Overall, we are given as a company, we are given a guidance in between 10 to 15%. I think we have attained close to 14% growth. So we are in line with our guidance.
Okay. So in the cotton side, this Q2 is going to be lower than previous year Q2 because of
last year the Q2 was only 4 or 5 lakhs. Right. Like 90% to 95% came in the first quarter in the last year. Even this year, I think it should be in line with last year. Yes. A few thousands of packets here and there, but it should be in line with last year.
So what are the flat for volume you are talking about?
Sorry?
When you are talking about Q2 will be a similar or lower than that of the previous year?
When you're talking about the second quarter for corresponding second quarter, last year second quarter to this year second quarter,
right.
It should not have much impact on quarter sales. Because anyhow last year we have only done 5 or 5.5 packets in the second quarter.
Okay.
So it should be in line with a few thousand packets we saw now.
Okay. So it could be a 6-7% kind of volume growth for the cotton.
It might be lower or higher. I mean, to select, if we have done 5 lakh packets, I don't have the exact figure for what we have done last year, second quarter, but it should be in line with it, like plus or minus of 5% of that.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, we'd like to inform participants that in order that the management is able to address questions from all participants in the conference, please limit your questions to 2 per participant. Should you have follow-up questions, we request you to rejoin the queue. We take the next question from the line of Nitin Agarwal from IDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. Nitin, on the rice business, would you think that this season marks a bit of an inflection point in the way rice is taken off for us and for the industry? I mean, for a long time, rice is considered to be the next big thing after cotton, but somehow we never really saw the traction coming through in this crop. Any thoughts on that?
Still, we believe in the same thing because rice is growing more than 43 million hectares across India. And the other encouraging point to look at it is that every year the acreages in hybrid rice are going up. So that itself shows that the hybrid rice is going to be one of the best, one of the top contributors for the entire hybrid rice. So we are very bullish on hybrid rice. In that way, we are working in that direction for last many years, and we are growing at that particular pace.
If you were to use, just sort of do a crystal ball gazing here, I mean, what proportion of business could rice be for you in, say, 3 to 5 years if all goes well?
So I think rice as such should beat cotton going forward in the next 3 to 5 years.
If you see that happening?
That's what's happening. You're already witnessing it, that if you see in the rice in the last 3 years, we have grown at more than 40% in hybrid rice. We are one of the top 4 or 5 players in hybrid rice and selection rice. We are leaders in India. So with that segment, if you see the value of growth, what we have done this year, we have almost grown by 55% in hybrid rice and 30% in varietal rice. So that's very encouraging, and we are already on that. We think that we are already on that path.
And excuse me, last one on this. Was the seasonality of rice, all of your sales like coffee get booked in the quarter one on rice also?
No, as of now in India, majority of the hybrid rice comes in the first quarter. So we are in line with the industry, and it should be continued. Whereas in the research, like the selection rice, what you say, like 15 to 20% comes in the second half.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nandan Vartak from Wealth Managers India Private Limited. Please go ahead.
Yes, thanks for the opportunity. So my question is on the new policies by government. They have allowed contract farming or quality assurance agreements under the new policy decision. So will there be any direct benefit out of it for seed industry or Kaveri specific?
We don't see any direct benefit as such, but it will help the farmer to have more choice and to monetize more on it. I mean, to say like they can have a back-to-back agreement. That in turn helps seed industry, indirectly helps seed industry, because we as a company give one of the best quality seeds which helps the farmers to produce more. So when you have a choice and power, to like back-to-back agreement, you can deal in a better way and opt for a high value and good quality seeds. That will in turn will help the yield. At the end of the day, we will be earning more out of this sale. So indirectly it will help. The government has taken a very good initiative, not only in terms of this thing, but recently the 1 lakh crore fund, which will help India in developing agriculture infrastructure, especially for the back end warehouses for the processing houses, and minimizing the middleman in that, and they are connecting directly to the sellers, to buyers. So that itself is a very good advantage for the farmers. So going forward, agriculture looks very good, and these type of government initiatives will definitely help agriculture. So in that way, indirectly, we should be one of these benefiters out of it.
Okay. That's helpful. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rohan Gupta from Edelweiss. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi Mithun, good afternoon.
Hi.
Mithun, so Mithun, because of nature of our business, it's quite seasonal, and we are Q1 heavy because of our concentration on cotton seed. With such a sharp rise in vegetables, and do you see that the seasonality impact will come down a little bit, and that can give a good boost to the overall margins, because ultimately your margin cost remains same for Q2, Q3, Q4. And vegetables, I believe, is not just concentrated in one quarter, but spread across the region, across the year. So with this kind of gain in other crops, do you see that the overall margin improvement is quite possible?
Yes. If you go back to when commenting on when talking about the cotton segment, if you see going back to the history, we were zero in cotton, and in the peak years we were at 75-70% of the cotton. And if you recollect our discussion in the last 3 years, we are saying that we are reducing our dependency on the cotton as we are increasing our market shares and volumes in all other non-cotton crops, including cotton, maize, and vegetables, because these three contribute more in the non-cotton segment. And as a percentage, if you see this year, the cotton percentage year on year is decreasing in terms of the contribution to the total sales. And you all are aware that the non-cotton contributes majority of the profitability and in terms of the margins. No doubt, vegetables even much more than the other field crops. But if you see with the growth what we had this year, the EBITDA margins have expanded, and by more than 120 basis points compared to previous years. So that itself shows that the margins are more in non-cotton segment. And coming back to the dependency on the first quarter, it will continue for going forward also, because not only cotton, even maize and hybrid rice also comes in the first quarter. So first quarter will be heavy quarter for us. And yes, either compared to second, third, fourth and quarters, year on year, it might improve because we are adding new crops and other crops like vegetables, wheat, mustard, which all comes in the second half, including some sort of a varietal rice and pulses. So this will add to the contribution. It will add in terms of the absolute terms, it will add to 2, 3 and 4 quarters, but definitely going forward also, at present with the Indian climatic conditions, we think quarter one will be heavy.
Right. In your presentation, you mentioned that 5 crore sort of revenue from vegetable seeds. So that was in FY20. That was for full year or Q1 revenue of vegetables?
For Q1. We are given the Q1 to Q1.
Okay. What is the full year revenue last year in vegetables?
It was close to 20
crores. 20 crores. So do you see that this current run rate of 15 crore, it is not impacted by any one-off, and we should be seeing close to 60 to 70 crore rupees revenue in the current year from vegetables?
It's too ambitious, but what we are saying is that we had a very good start this year compared to previous year, and we are pretty confident that we will end up by at least 40 to 50% gain over last year. That is a very conservative figure. Our internal targets are much higher, but this is what for sure we will achieve it.
So you see that this 15 crores in the current quarter is it's driven by some extraordinary gain which will not sustainable, and as you saying that
we are not saying that we are not sustaining it. I'm saying that we had a very good start, because we are aiming for that. We had a very good start. The figure what I'm giving at 40 to 50% growth is a very conservative figure. We have internal targets here, but I think we don't want to reveal that. But we are in line with what we are. It's not a one-off sale. It's in line with our anticipation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sarvesh Gupta from Maximal Capital. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mithun, and congratulations for a very good set of numbers. Sir, one question is, in the rice you said that we are in the top 5 players. So if you can give us some sense of who are the other 3-4 players who are ahead of us.
The leader is Bayer, then we have DuPont, then another MNCs are there in that. So we are competing with all MNCs in non-cotton segments. Most of the MNCs are present in those segments.
So no major Indian player is able to develop in this?
Not many players in non-cotton segment. That's where we stand different from other seed companies. Most of the Indian companies dominate in the cotton segment. We are the only company in India who dominate in both cotton and non-cotton segments. We compete with domestic players in cotton seed, and we compete with all MNCs in the non-cotton segment. And as such, in the portfolio, even in MNCs are present in very few crops. For example, one company is big in rice, one company is big in maize. But at Kaveri, we are big in most of the crops where we operate. That's where we have the highest revenue and the highest network across India. Because of our crops and the presence in because of our presence in different crops, we are present across all states.
Understood. And in the cotton segment, you were saying that the market has contracted by maybe 5-7%, while we have grown by 5-6%. So, we have gained market share. So, what is leading to this? Because are there particular hybrids which have done very well for us? Because, there is some sort of a maturity which comes to the efficacy of these cotton seeds over time. So what is contributing for us, because we have been in this market for a long time, but still we are being able to gain the market share?
Yeah, we are gaining market share because our hybrids are doing well. Even though we are present in the market for last 15 years, we are leaders in the cotton for last 12-13 years, we are increasing our market share. It's not the same hybrid which is performing. We have released many hybrids in between, and it's a very dynamic process, and every year we launch new hybrids. Based on that, there will be a contribution of new and old hybrids. Going forward, new hybrids will take over the old hybrids. So that's how the strategy works out. And as we are successful because we are introducing many hybrids which are acceptable by the farmer. So that's the only success mantra to go forward to gain market share.
No, so currently the hybrids that we might have launched a few years back are kind of helping us gain the market share, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, and now with the cash on the balance sheet, I know that you have done 3 consecutive buybacks in the previous years, but that is going to be the situation even in this year, or there is some change because of the COVID scenario? Hello?
We seem to have lost the line from Mr. Mithun. Please stay connected while we reconnect him. Participants, please stay connected while we reconnect the management. Participants, thank you for patiently holding the line. We have the line from Mr. Mithun reconnected. Over to you, sir.
Sorry, the call got dropped.
Yeah. Sir, my question was that given that again we have a sizable cash on the balance sheet and we have been doing buybacks every year, so is that trend going to continue, or is there any change because of the COVID scenario this year?
As of now, nothing, because we have, as a company, we have a policy of keeping that 300 crores as last year, and whatever we earn every year, we want to reward it or distribute it back to the shareholders. As of now, we think that we'll follow it because we don't have any other usage of cash. But again, that's subject to the board meeting, board decision. But as of now, our intentions are to reward to the shareholders.
Okay. Thank you, sir, and congratulations again.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anil Udar from Renuka Investments. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. First of all, I would like to congratulate the team Kaveri for doing excellent results and giving us an opportunity to see that a company has crossed 1,000 crore turnover, would cross the 1,000 crore turnover in this year. My question regarding is the R&D spend that the company has done, what exactly would be the capex this year on R&D, and would it be on buildings and equipment, or would we focus ourselves on adding new scientists or new team of people to our group?
Thank you, first of all. The R&D spend basically is the spend on the scientists and the recurring expenses. Yes, no doubt there are some expenses, like for example, where we have spent on biotechnology lab. That also comes for the R&D. But the minimum of capex, because most of the assets are owned by the company. So that's the reason whatever spent is showing under the R&D. The majority of the spend goes for the manpower, that is the scientist cost, or the farm expenses, or the recurring expenses. Basically what we incur in doing the agriculture. That's the major spend. No doubt there are minimum of capex.
Okay. The second question which I would want to ask you is regarding the germplasm bank that we have. The thing is, are we now focusing on vegetables, or are we looking at field crops and vegetables to be the growth driver for the next 3 to 4 years?
We are focusing as crops as a segment. We have added vegetables. We were dealing with vegetables for the last 20 years. But in the last 10 years, we are aggressively investing on vegetables. That's what which is yielding us right now. So we are focused on crops are equal, and based on the market size and market that we dedicate our budgets and spends on each crop. And we are adding new crops. That doesn't mean that we are leaving the other crops. We are focusing equally on all crops. And we want to build a company where we are leaders in most of the crops. That's our strategy, and we are trying to do that. And if you see in the last previous years, we were also successful in developing the stuff outside.
Regarding vegetables, which would be the focus area? Tomatoes, chili, okra, or any other vegetables which we are looking for? Because due to the COVID thing, the way in which people are consuming vegetables has changed. Earlier it was hotel and other industry had a big chunk. Now it's like people are not going to restaurants and many other places. What has happened is the trend has absolutely changed. So are we looking at some other hybrids like cauliflower and many other vegetables, or just three vegetables which we have right now would be the main focus of our company?
Rightly pointed out, vegetables as such is a very interesting segment which is growing much faster than any other segment. And vegetables as a crop is more remunerated to the farmer than any other crops, most of the crops. And in vegetables, if you take the overall market size of the market, okra, chili, and tomato contributes to the majority of the market share. No doubt, the other crops are like gourds, eggplant, cauliflower, brinjal, carrot also contribute to those crops. But our main crops was three. Like we started with chili, okra, and tomato and gourds. Now, if you see in our presentation, we have even said that we are dealing with hot pepper, beetroot, cabbage, cauliflower, everything. And some we are importing from other countries. We have a tie-up with other countries that we are selling. We are selling it here. But in terms of the basic research, we are focusing on the 5 crops: gourds and eggplant.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Amit Vora from PCS Securities. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mithun. Congratulations on a good set of numbers. My first question is regarding vegetable margins. What would be the number, if that's okay for you to share?
Thank you, Amit. The margins are better than the field crop, but because of the size, we need to see this year. Last year, because of the size, it might be lower. It will be improving going forward. We'll come back with the margins later once we have decent size.
Sure. On the royalty that we have saved on cotton, how much of that we have retained and how much of that has been passed on to our distributors?
As of now, most of that is retained with us. Like majority of the portion is retained with us. Some we might give it to the dealer going forward.
Okay. One last question is on the state-wise breakup, if there is the number that you have in terms of cotton, how much have we done in each state?
Right now, I don't have the number as such, but it's in line with the last year numbers. Apart from Maharashtra, where we have done better. In Maharashtra, we have grown. But other markets all remain same because Gujarat is down by close to 15 to 18%. Northern India, we have done well, but all other states remain same.
Okay. So we would have retained our market share in Telangana, or have we lost it to any other?
No, we have retained our market share in Telangana, but if you see the acreages in Telangana, the both maize and cotton acreages both are down. If you talk about maize, the maize acreages are down by more than 50% in Telangana.
Correct.
And cotton it's at least down by 15% to 20%. So we have gained. I mean to say we have retained. At least not gained. At least we have retained a market share in most of the parts where we have operated.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, a reminder to participants to please limit your questions to 2 per participant. The next question is from the line of Sanket Behani, who's an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Hi.
Good afternoon. I wanted to ask you, what is the company's strategy to expand the volume going in next 2 to 3 years? And how does the company plan to use the cash on hand as of June?
So we have the policy in terms of the strategy, as I mentioned earlier, we want to focus on all crops and we want to increase our market share in majority of the crops. And we are spending a lot in improving our product portfolio. We have a huge set of product pipeline. And we are focusing on the growth rate as like what we have achieved last year. And as a leader, we want to grow better than the market. In terms of the cash, in the last 3 years, we have distributed or rewarded to the shareholder. As of now, our policy is intact to reward to the shareholder, but again subject to the board approval.
Oh, okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Hitesh Thakkar, who's a retail investor. Please go ahead.
Afternoon, sir. Thank you very much for taking my question and congrats on the lovely set of numbers. Very brief question in terms of our strategy with the export market. If you could shed some light on which are the export markets that you target, our current sort of share of exports in the overall sales and the margin and profitability over there, and how do you see that trend emerging going forward?
We are doing close to 20 crore exports. Compared to 19-20, it remains same. We are slightly grown in 20, but this year we have plans of exporting more. But again, we need to see about the conditions, how the seed movement will happen between these countries. But we are very bullish on the exports. I'm not concerned about a year or two with a difficult condition. But going forward, we are focusing more on the export market because as we have a huge germplasm and we have many hybrids in the portfolio. If you take over the number of hybrids, what we deal is one of the highest in the industry across the world. The number of hybrids what we deal with. So we have many hybrids which are suitable for many areas and climatic conditions. So we are initially trialing those countries, countries where the climatic conditions are suitable for India, are in line with India. So we are at now targeting 7 countries. So definitely this should going forward, this should be at least grow in these countries. In the next 5 years, definitely we see at least doubling or more than double in terms of the exports.
Sure, sir.
But we have started this 2 or 3 years back, but you are aware that it takes a time process to register hybrids in different countries as we are importing. As they are exporting, we need to register there. That's where we are taking time, but we are pretty confident that we have a good set of hybrids which can definitely add some value to our average.
So, sir, and as you mentioned, in the non-cotton segment, we are competing with likes of DuPont. So, in terms of margins, do you see export markets providing you a better margin when compared to the domestic sales? I mean, what would be the differential in terms of the margins that you enjoy there?
I think both the margins, export and domestic, are in line with it. In some crop, domestic margins are much better than export because we are in the initial stages. We are not commanding much, but once we have a foothold there, then we can command the price there. But definitely, even export, we have good margins in that.
Sure, sir. Thank you very much for answering the question.
Thank you. The next question is from Harish Kumar Gupta, who's an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah. Sir, I have one query. I think you mentioned that your turnover from rice will cross cottonseed. So, is it true or I misunderstood?
I couldn't understand it too, but yes, our plan is to cross the cotton segment revenue in the next 5 years, and we are in line with it. And we are very confident that rice will be the major contributor to our revenue growth.
And meanwhile, cotton seeds revenue also will keep increasing, right?
Yes. But not in line with rice, but cotton will increase to some extent, but rice, we have a very good plan for rice.
Obviously, then only it will
grow. It's a very big market. Rice market is a very huge market, and we have many pipeline hybrids, and we have largest scope to grow in rice.
So margins in rice seeds is higher than cotton seeds or lower?
All the crops, all the margins of the crops are higher than cotton. Non-cotton segment is higher than the cotton margins.
Okay, so basically it is fair to assume that we may have EBITDA growth more than 30% CAGR in next 5 years or so.
I don't comment on that, but if you see, definitely the margins should improve, and it's a trend what you are seeing for the last couple of years. Going forward, as we increase our revenues as a percentage of revenue in non-cotton crops, definitely the EBITDA margin should also increase.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Bharat Shah from ASK Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Muthu. I could join in a little late after 10 minutes when the call began, so I may have missed it. But two areas. One, in extent side, what has been done to bring such an excellent control? And secondly, anything special in other income part or it is just a financial income?
Good afternoon, Bharat. I just missed your first question.
So I was saying that on expenses, there has been a very, very decent control. So just wanted to know what was done on that front. And as far as other income is concerned, is that basically financial income or is there anything else?
I'll first answer the second question, the other income part. Basically, the financial income which is generated by investing into the debt fund, the interest income, what you can say, because we have cash on books. So some got matured in the first quarter. That's the income what we got in the other income. Basically, the interest income what we got. And coming back to the first question in terms of the other expenses, even the royalty is shown as the other expenses. As of this year, the royalty is zero as against 90 rupees last year. So that's a major impact. If you see the other expenses, we are down by 20 crores, out of which 14 odd crores is from the royalty portion itself. Oh, the other 5 or 6 crores from the traveling part, because traveling was very minimal in that particular time. So we have saved some amount in the traveling part.
Excellent. And on a longer term, is we build on exports, is we build on non-cotton seeds, and as we get into more and more Rabi season-related supplies, would you think that the skew of the seasonality will be able to gain decent control over, say, 5 years?
I don't think so, but definitely on an absolute term basis, second, third, fourth, and quarter will add more than the current years going forward. But in terms of the overall dependency as a percentage of sales in the first quarter will remain same. Because in India, most of the crops comes in the Kharif part. For example, you take cotton or you take rice or you take maize or part of any other crop. Majority of that is sown in the first quarter. So definitely the first quarter will have a more weightage. But in the absolute terms, all the segments, like 2, 3, 4 will definitely have a higher value. And vegetables coming into picture, wheat coming into picture, definitely as a percentage, quarter one should be slightly lower, but I don't think that it will be a significant impact on quarter one as a percentage. Reduction.
Not even over a 5-year period.
Not as such, because we are growing in maize, rice, and other crops, which are all in the first quarter.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks, Mithun, and was delighted to see the performance in this period.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abhijit Akela from IIFL. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Mithun. Just one follow-up. Regarding the cotton market, you mentioned that there's been a decline of 6 to 8% this year. If you could just quantify what the market size stands at in terms of packets, and how have the leading players done? Other than Kaveri, is there anyone else who has gained share, or has everyone had a difficult year? Thank you.
I think in terms of the growth, we might have grown better than any other companies. If you take the companies, hardly 1 or 2 with a small base have grown, but not with a bigger base. Most of them have lost market shares in line with the markets.
Yeah, and what would the market size be right now?
It should be around the same, like 4.5 crores. Last time it was around the 5 crore packet market. It should be in between like 4.3 or 4.5, in between 4.3 to 4.5.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Wish you all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rohit Nagraj from Sunidhi Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the follow-up. Sir, in terms of our guidance, so last quarter we had said 15 to 20% overall growth. So now it is reduced to 10 to 15%, given that the cotton will not grow as per earlier expectation of 10 to 15%. Is it right?
So if you see a first quarter growth, which is a majority contributor of the for the overall season, we have grown close to 15% in terms of the revenue and 20% at the bottom line, more than 20%. If you see our guidance, what we are given is like 10 to 15% growth at the top line and 15 to 20% growth at the bottom line. So we are at the higher end of the projection what we are given. How the guidance is given.
Right. And sir, one last question.
Even though we just need to see that even though we have not grown much in cotton, but we have grown better than the guidance what we have grown better than the guidance in the non-cotton segment. So that's the reason our revenues are up close to 15%.
Right. Sir, and what is the contribution from new products in cotton portfolio?
I don't have the right now the figure, but it's there in the presentation which we are giving it to you, which is submitted to the exchanges. Most of the information is there regarding
All right, sir. Thanks a lot and best of luck.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nitin Awasthi from East India Securities. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the follow-up, sir. So just to take forward the exports question asked by an earlier participant, because of the time it takes for a company in the seeds business to gain a foothold in a country, could you just highlight the major countries we are focusing on and where we stand as of today in those countries?
Right now we are starting. Started dealing with 7 countries. We expanded exported small to medium size exports to these countries. But there are some other countries we are in the registration process. But the majority of the countries we are dealing with the neighboring countries, especially like Bangladesh, Nepal, Pakistan, and the other Far East countries like Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines. Vietnam. These are the countries where we are dealing in. We are dealing with the countries where the crops, major crop is like maize or rice. We are not dealing with the countries where the cotton is there because we deal with genetically modified crop that requires another set of permissions. So we are dealing with countries where the cropping pattern is similar with maize, rice and vegetables.
Any major African country you're focusing on, sir, right now?
Sorry?
Any major African country?
We have sent to African countries also. We have sent to Senegal. We have sent to South African countries also.
Okay, sir.
But Tanzania. Yes, it's in the initial stages. We have sent to Ghana.
Okay, sir. And just on the vegetable front, how much of this growth that we saw, this very excellent growth that we saw, was the contribution of the existing portfolio doing well, and how much of it was introduction of new products?
If you see the growth, majority of the revenues are from the products which were introduced in the earlier years.
Okay.
In the seed industry, nothing will gain in the first year. It takes at least 2 to 3 years to get at least a meaningful sale to begin with. So it's are the hybrids which we have introduced a couple of years back.
Okay, and everything that you have mentioned in your presentation, all the new vegetables, they will be introduced in the current year, if I'm not wrong.
Some might be in the last season, some in the season.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. That's all from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Karthikeyan from Suyash Advisors. Please go ahead.
Hi, Mithun. Many congratulations. 2 questions. One is, what is the collection scene like right now? I see that the cash position is good, but can you please clarify on the collection situation?
Yeah, if you recollect the call, what we said that because of the government intervention on the most of the produce is bought by the government, and the rural economy has realized some money in terms of the commodity. They have realized some money for the commodities. But and the other part is that as a company, we have a very good brand, and this year we were able to collect more money from the other companies.
Yes.
So in that way, if you see in an overall year-on-year basis, our collection is much better than the last year. So we are collecting more, and we don't see any issue in terms of the collection or in terms of the task.
Perfect. So the second question is on this BG3. How effective are these seeds? I mean, because they are produced illegally, does that impact their quality in any way? Any thoughts on how effective they are on field? Are they able to actually resist, glyphosate? Some thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a mixed thing. Some seeds are performing well, and some seeds doesn't perform at all.
Right.
It's really risky to choose those type of seeds because no company holds responsibility for it, and more
correct.
It's illegal. And as a farmer, it's always better to go for a legal seed because first of all, the hybrids are non-performing hybrids, and the second thing is that they are not reliable. So it's a very mixed thing, and most of the farmers lose money in the illegal cotton.
Right. And what price would they be selling at?
They sell at any price because the quality of seed is not good. They range in between something like 500 to 700 rupees.
Oh, okay. Super. Great. Thanks very much. Wonderful performance. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That was the last question in queue. I would now like to hand the conference back to the management team for closing comments.
It has been a pleasure interacting with you all over the call. We thank you for taking time out and engaging with us today. We value your continued interest and support. If you have any further questions or you would like to know more about the company, kindly recall reach our investor relation time. Thank you.